conference are coming from. That would be great. Okay, anyway, let's start with the Java Desktop 2020 session. I'm Hendrik Ebbers. I'm one of the co-founders of the company Kawaku that is hosting the JavaFX Days today and tomorrow. I'm a Java champion and a Java rockstar, Java 1 rockstar. And yeah, I did a lot of Java related stuff. I wrote a book about Java 8, JavaFX 8. I did the design web card for JavaFX 8. Somebody just painted something in my slides. Okay. I'm a technical steering committee member of the Adopt Open JDK and so on. And today I want to talk about Java Desktop and the state of Java Desktop in 2020. And to do so, I want to start with a story, of Little Duke's journey to the moon. So let me begin with introducing Little Duke to you. I assume all of you know Duke, the mascot of Java. And here we have Little Duke, which is like the little mascot of Java. And Little Duke still learns Java because with the development of Java 8 and the release of Java 8, a lot of things have changed in Java, in the Java ecosystem, and in the Java language at all. So when Java 8 come out, you've seen a lot of articles, talks, sessions, and posts that are titled like, "This is not your daddy's Java," and things like that. And yeah, for me, that was really true because with this new area, a lot of things changed in the Java ecosystem. And from my point of view, we are still in this area. And since we are now in this area, I think it's a good question to ask yourself, what was Daddy's Java then, if this is not Daddy's Java? So let's have a look at Daddy Duke and the Java that Daddy Duke did. So what Daddy did is, first of all, he was a Java architect.
Henrik, we cannot hear you.
Okay, someone, I don't know what happened here. Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know when it was started to not hearing me, but so what we can see here is the architecture of the Java 2 platform. This image is quite old. It came out with Java 1.4. And the interesting point here is that a huge part of this architecture and of this platform is related to Java Desktop, like Java Web Start, Swing, HWT, Java 2D, and so on. So in Daddy's Java, a lot of the Java-related technology and the things that were part of the Java platform were aimed for Java Desktop. And next to this, Daddy was a rocket science. So he did a lot of awesome science technologies. He worked together with CERN, with NASA, with different universities to create apps. I have no idea what they are doing, but you can see like this chemical or biological 3D things. Don't ask me what it is. You can see like satellite navigation information rendered in 3D around the Earth, like what was done with the Whirlwind project from the NASA that was completely done in Swing, for example. So Daddy Duke did a lot of things here. And this is what Little Duke wants to do too, right? Because he wants to make his daddy proud. And in modern Java, we already have a lot of technologies and functions that we need to get Java to the next level, like lambdas, modules, cry-VM, pattern matching, all these modern tools that moves Java forward and makes Java still a relevant language, a modern language. Everyone who says Java is dead, sorry, that's just not the truth. Java is not dead. It's still one of the most reused languages. If you, for example, have a look at the Toibe index, you can see that, okay, this year Java is only on slot 2, but all the previous years, Java was the most used language since round about more than 10 years. Can somebody maybe have a look how the painting on my screen can be removed, or is it only me who sees?
I'm Googling that already.
Yeah, okay. So based on this, I would say we have all that we need to make Daddy Duke proud and to even fly to the moon. So looks like we are still the best on the market. So let's do that, because that's what Little Duke wants to do. But whoa, wait, what happened here? Looks like we have a problem. So looks like the spaceship started without taking Little Duke with him. So let's have a look what happened here. What we see here is the cockpit of the SpaceX Dragon, which was the SpaceX shuttle rocket, however you want to call it, that in the first half of this year sent some people again from the US to the space. And when having a deeper look, here you see the UI that is used in the cockpit, in the controls, which is a modern UI, a touch-based UI, quite nice. And if you even have a deeper look, you can see, whoa, what's that? So this UI is rendered in Chrome and is based on JavaScript. I mean, come on, haven't we just seen that Java has everything that you need to create rich, cool user interfaces that were used on things like NASA, like CERN, and now we have something like that? What happened here? I think it's time for a retrospective. So something went wrong, right? Let's have a look. What happened? Maybe is Java the problem? I don't know, or just the desktop development from Java, or maybe just the newest toolkit here, JavaFX. I assume we all know what that is. Or maybe is the problem the community? Let's have a look at these possibilities. But before we have a deeper look, we could do an easy answer. And that is an answer that I've already heard a lot. It's just because of Oracle. Oracle don't care about it, right? Oracle does not care about JavaFX or Java on mobile at all. Oracle does not invest in JavaFX anymore. Oracle killed or killed Java on desktop. While I, from my point, would say some of the things are maybe half true. The big question is, does this help? Does this really help to bring Java to the moon? From my point of view, I would say no. This is not helpful at all, right? This is just blaming somebody else and not taking care about the problem. So we need to find a better solution here. Okay, let's have a look at the possibilities. As said, maybe the Java platform is the problem. When having a look at the platform and when, for example, maybe talking with a JavaScript developer, you can hear things like that. Java is old, JavaScript with the Chromium V8 JavaScript engine. This is the hot stuff. This is super fast. You should develop based on this. Okay, we're all Java developers, right? So we know the truth. The truth is that Java is super fast, much, much faster. In Java, we have things like JIT, the just-in-time compilation, that makes Java super performant and fast. We have new technologies like CryVM that already does the JIT at compile time, which provides small application with a super fast startup time. So from my point of view, the Java platform can't be the problem. But does this mean that the problem is Java desktop? Or maybe even desktop development in general? So maybe the question is the desktop dead? Does nobody care about desktop development anymore? Is this what we are doing while we are meeting here, riding a dead horse? So maybe before we get too sad about such information, about thinking for things like that, let's have a little bit fun, and therefore it's time for Duke's stand-up comedy. And Duke prepared some web developer and JavaScript jokes for you. So let's start. So do you have an idea what a JavaScript developer does over the weekend? Anybody? So he invents a new JavaScript framework. Duke's first joke. Let's have a look. Do you have an idea how traffic signs would look like if they are created by web developers? Or do you have an idea how the family tree of a web developer would look like? I assume most of you know this graphic. But we have more. So Duke even had a look at several JavaScript libraries and tried to find out one of the libraries that is heavily used. The best one he found was this one, Corsair, or I don't know how to spell that is used by over 100 libraries, and it does exactly what you can see here. It paints a horse into the console. That's awesome. And a lot of libraries depend on it, and I don't want to talk about transitive dependencies at all. And last but not least, do you have an idea what the heaviest object in the universe is? Well, here you can see the answer. Okay, anyway, hope that's enough bad jokes. So let's go back to business and concentrate on desktop and Java desktop and discuss if desktop development is dead at all. So before we continue, don't get me wrong, I love desktop development, and I love desktop development with Java. That's what I did for a lot of years, what I really liked in doing in my job. But today, I think all of us need to understand that desktop development, and not even with Java, desktop development in general, has become a niche. That's just what it is. It is a niche. And when having a look at general development, people today want to have web applications or maybe hybrid applications. Especially managers say, hey, I want to have a web application because this is what the others are doing. And big companies invest in this area. They invest in web development-based tools to do rapid application, for example, based on web frameworks. And when having a look at the general development, it more or less looks like this, right? So the web development is only a small part of the whole development that we have. And the rest is all the stupid and boring web development. But let's go a little bit nearer and zoom into this desktop development area. And what I did to get an understanding what happens here, I looked at Stack Overflow and had a look at all the Stack Overflow questions in 2020. And I checked how many questions are about Qt, about Swing, about JavaFX, and about Electron. And this is the result. And even while Qt is the winner, I mean, it's used in embedded and in a lot of other things, Swing and JavaFX are not bad, especially not compared to Electron, right? A lot of people say, hey, I hate Electron because now people use Electron and JavaScript to develop desktop applications. But at the end, it's not used more than Swing or JavaFX. And if we just sum up the Java technologies, you can say that the Java desktop technologies are the biggest player in the market when talking about desktop development. While it's still a niche, Java is here the winner because it's just the biggest one. Okay. Oh, wait, what's that? So it looks like my slides are broken. Ah, no, that's a node module. It's from, some slides above. Sorry about that. Okay, let's continue with all the positive progress. When having a look what happened this year and within the last months, a lot of cool things happened. when talking about JavaFX, we had 2 releases of JavaFX, 2 main releases, Java 14 and 17. And even while there are no like new controls, a lot of new APIs or things like that, there were a lot of performance issues fixed, like for example in CSS processing that makes a lot of JavaFX applications just much faster. And we had a lot of bug fixes that helped JavaFX applications to work. I know from some applications that had problem with Java 12, for example, and working with Java 14 because of fixes that have been done. Next to this, we still have JavaFX 11, and even here releases has been happened within the last year. For commercial support only, true, but if you want to, you can have Java 11 LTS, and there were releases this year. And next to this, as Wolfgang already mentioned, and I assume Johan will mention it tomorrow in the keynote too, together with GraalVM and the Cron substrate, you can now easily create native images based on JavaFX and have more native applications than ever before that start faster and work faster. And this is a great stop. And I just want to thank to Cron here, because from my point of view, they are really doing an amazing job in the JavaFX ecosystem. But next to this, a lot of other things happen. So as already mentioned, Cron provides JavaFX 11 support, but other companies like, for example, Bellsoft still provide support for JavaFX 8. So you can buy commercial support for JavaFX 8 at Bellsoft and even still run your JavaFX 8 or Java 8 application within the next years. If you want to know more about commercial support and the support of JavaFX in general, this is what I did last year, and I put here a link where you can find my slides, or you just go to the JavaFX Days webpage, and there the recording is already uploaded as we mentioned at the beginning, and you can just have a look at the video. Next to this, we have a lot of community projects like open source projects as ControllsFX, TestFX, FXGL. We have other community projects like, we are currently at the JavaFX Day, right? So this is a community-based project. You don't need to pay anything to be here. And even the on-site JavaFX Days that we did the last years were everything that you needed to pay is to have the location and things like that. So even they were community-based. Another example is really just OpenJFX, because it's hosted at GitHub. In theory, everybody can do a pull request. Everybody can contribute in OpenJFX if you want to. Another good example is OpenWebStart. While it's not depending heavily on JavaFX, I mean, you can start your JavaFX application with that. It's more interesting for the Swing-based development. But within the last year, a lot happened in the OpenWebStart ecosystem. A lot of testimonials and sponsors appeared. A lot of companies, like for example the Charité, I know that NASA is using OpenWebStart, and this helps to support their Java desktop application to run even in future. And something that is quite new, sadly, that's so new that we were not able to put it somehow into the program of the JavaFX Days is Compose, which is a new framework that is provided by JetBrains and announced, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, which is a Java-based framework to create desktop applications. And while this one is especially based on Kotlin, and when checking it out today, the result looks a lot like an Android application. I'm not that much interested in this one, but what is really, really interesting is the layer above that one, below that one, which is this, I don't know how to spell it, Skija, maybe something like that. And this is based on the Skia library, which is a native library that provides 2D graphics for all platforms, or for all modern platforms like Linux, Windows, macOS, and just provides a common layer, a common API to access these libraries. And it's used by Google Chrome, by Chrome OS, Android, Flutter uses it, the Firefox OS. All these tools, applications, and operation systems use Skia to render their canvas to render all the graphics, their windows, to render all the web pages inside of Chrome. And what IntelliJ did here is they created this Java library as a wrapper around this native library to let you write Java-based applications that use the Skia engine. And this is really great, because here you have the same graphic performance like you have in Google Chrome and other things, for example, but have the benefits of using Java. Okay, so when having a look at all of these things, I would say we made a lot of good progress, right? So when going back to the retrospective and having a look what went wrong, from my point of view, I can say, so it's not Java, right? It's not Java desktop. It's not JavaFX, and definitely not the community. So maybe it's really like just this. It's currently a niche, and we need to accept that it's a niche in our days. But being in a niche can be fine. Maybe we should just be like Apple. Now you think, hey, wait, Apple is not a niche, right? So there was a point where Steve Jobs was asked about why Apple only have 5% of market share some years ago, right? And what Steve Jobs said is, it's bigger than, for example, BMW or Porsche. And I ask you, is it wrong to have a BMW or Mercedes? Or don't you want to be Mercedes as a company? So a niche can be great, and a niche can be successful, and tools and products in this niche can be really successful. And to be true, some things inside a niche can be much, much easier, because you can easier coordinate things like projects working together. You can easier define a global mission or milestones for the whole complete niche. And by doing all these things, maybe it's even possible, maybe not today, but maybe in the future, to send our little Duke to the moon by using Java Desktop. Others are doing a lot in areas to work together. I just have some examples here, like, for example, the OpenJS Foundation or Adopt OpenJDK, where I can tell you a lot of because I'm part of the steering committee. But what I did to understand things better, I did an interview for this keynote with a guy from the OpenJS Foundation. And believe it or not, they have the same problems as we have. Because maybe you ask yourself, wait, what is the OpenJS Foundation? It's the Open JavaScript Foundation. Okay, maybe you ask yourself, why is it not called Open JavaScript Foundation? As said, they have the same problems as we have. Because JavaScript, the name is trademarked by Oracle. So it was just not possible to name it the Open JavaScript Foundation, as it's not possible to name this conference the JavaFX Day, but the JFX Day, because Java is trademarked by Oracle. That's why it's called OpenJS Foundation. But anyway, even if it's trademarked by Oracle, where we go back to, you should not just blame Oracle, you should do things. They created this foundation, and they did a lot of work there, and projects like jQuery, like Electron are all part of this foundation. And huge companies like Google, IBM, Microsoft, GitHub, Netflix, Red Hat, they are all working in these companies and sponsoring these companies. Yeah, one company is missing, right? So you can think about which one is not sponsoring the OpenJS Foundation. It's not called Open JavaScript Foundation at all. Anyway, but it's the same, for example, for Adopt OpenJDK or Jakarta EE. All those are groups that where projects and companies work together to get the whole ecosystem and the whole community a step further and a step better. And again, while things like Java or JavaScript are trademarked by one big developer company, other names are still free. Like, for example, the OpenJS Foundation has trademarked jQuery or Webpack. So everything is still open and a lot of things can be done. And when I, for example, ask myself what could be done for Java desktop at all, what is missing, what should we do here? Let me ask you just some questions to maybe get you an idea what easily could be done. So do you, for example, know a good page or a web page or a place where you can find actual modern and good looking success stories of Java desktop projects and Java desktop applications? Because it's not that such applications don't exist. We just do not have a place where such stories can be hosted and maybe prepared and then maybe downloaded by managers or by technical deciders. And next to this, there is not a global entry point to the whole community, which is the Java desktop community. We have the open JFX IO page. But again, is this a page that you want to show to a manager? I don't think so. So this is a lot. This is, for example, one topic where things should become a lot better in the Java desktop community. A good example is Qt. Okay, you can say Qt is a company that's unfair. Yes, but I mean, a company can do a website. Why cannot a community do a website? Come on. And they have a quite good website that is quite good defined with a lot of success stories and general information about the technology. And this is a website that you can easily show your CIO, your CTO, and say, hey, we want to use this technology because it's used by this and that and was successfully used here. That would be great to have something like that for Java desktop too. So from my point of view, we are in general fine. We're living in a niche. But as long as we connect and contribute and work together as a community, we can make our niche shine and maybe even fly to the moon in future, together with, in this case, Little Duke. So I think we can do that. That's the message I want to give you. Thanks for watching the keynote. I hope you have a lot of fun and learn a lot of stuff at the JavaFX Days.